we have one more what you call definition which we studied earlier. That is rainfall excess we saw, then effective rainfall we saw. So that also we will slowly finish it up, right? Next one we are going to see is the rainfall excess. What is rainfall excess, right? So now what we told is, now we discussed already in this picture only, if rainfall is happening, there will be two losses. One is initial losses and the other one is base flow. Now we already studied about this base flow, right? So what is this base flow? That is the water which is going into the underground. So base flow. So now we have removed this. We have only DRH. Now what is this called? Rainfall excess. That is your next definition. What is your rainfall excess? Right now, the total rainfall we know, this is the rainfall which is happening in the surface. By removing this base flow, we have the total runoff here. So now total runoff minus the initial losses, that is called as the rainfall excess. So now forget about this DRH, forget about the base flow. Now I am having total rainfall, and then I am removing the initial losses. Initial losses is very minor, which we already saw, interception loss and the other losses, depression, storage and all, that is very minor. So rainfall excess is nothing but the total rainfall minus the losses, that is called as rainfall excess. Now we have three definitions. One is the general hydrograph, which is having the rainfall and also the runoff. Second one is DRH. So DRH is nothing but if you remove the base flow, that is called as the DRH. DRH is equal to total rainfall minus the base flow. So that is called as direct runoff hydrograph. And the next one comes the rainfall excess. Rainfall excess is the initial losses which we are having. So total rainfall minus the losses is called as rainfall excess. And the third one which we already saw was the effective rainfall. So effective rainfall is nothing but it is together with the initial and total losses, that is called as effective rainfall. So what is the difference between rainfall excess and the effective rainfall is nothing but rainfall excess, the initial losses which are going and the water which is available in the top surface. So that is called as the rainfall excess. So there won't be much difference between, suppose if you ask the difference between direct runoff hydrograph and the rainfall excess, direct runoff hydrograph will tell about the volume of water which is available in the surface, right? Rainfall excess is nothing but the volume of water here in this surface runoff. So removing the initial losses, right? So this is about two things. Is it clear or still it is confusing? Okay, once again I will repeat it if it is confusing. Hydrograph we generally know, and next one is direct runoff hydrograph. So if you speak about direct runoff hydrograph, I am removing this base flow. So if I remove this base flow, that is called as direct runoff hydrograph, DRH. Next one is rainfall excess. Rainfall excess is nothing but the total rainfall minus the losses, that is the initial losses. So that is called as rainfall excess. And one more thing we saw yesterday is effective rainfall. So effective rainfall is nothing but if you see this image, so mostly the rainfall which is falling into this particular area, and also we have one thing called interflow. So first thing we studied about the base flow is nothing but whatever the rainfall is coming, if it is going directly under the ground, that is called as base flow. And there is one thing called interflow. So interflow is nothing but before reaching the groundwater, there is one process which is happening, that is the water will come into this particular area and it will move in the traverse path. So that is nothing but the water which is going along the ground in the horizontal direction, that is called as interflow. So we don't want to confuse much in this concept. Why? Because this interflow which we are studying is very minor and it is not much significant also. So mostly effective rainfall and rainfall excess is same, right? So DRH is over, then rainfall excess we studied it. Rainfall excess is total rainfall minus the losses, that is called as rainfall excess. And then we studied about this effective rainfall. So effective rainfall is nothing but it includes the interflow also, that is this water which is going along the horizontal direction of the water, and then ultimately it reaches the nearby stream. So we don't want to worry about this particular interflow because it's not much significant, it is very limited. So rainfall excess is equal to effective rainfall in that case, right? So now what is this effective rainfall hyetograph, which means it is nothing but the intensity of the rainfall. So for each time period, how much rainfall is there, that is called the intensity, which is measured in centimeter per hour. So rainfall is already centimeter, we will be measuring the rainfall in centimeter, and at what time, till what time it is there, that is centimeter per hour, right? So this is the hour. So if you wanted to draw this effective rainfall hyetograph, what you have to do is, first you have to draw it in intensity. So how much ever, maybe this is 30 centimeter for this particular hour, and this is 40, 70, and so on, right? So in this particular rainfall hyetograph, what you will do, you will again do with the losses. So if you remove the losses, you will get the rainfall excess or the effective rainfall hyetograph, right? So there are two things. One is the direct runoff hydrograph, and the other one is effective rainfall hyetograph, right? So now why we need to study about this, both two gives the same answer. For example, if you take this is the effective rainfall hyetograph, right? So this is based on rainfall data, so this is called as effective rainfall hyetograph, right? For example, if you see, this is centimeter per hour and this is in time hour, right? So what ultimately it gives is, it gives some amount of rainfall it is there. So if you take that rainfall, it will be in the centimeter, so that nothing but how much amount of the rainfall it is happen. And if you have the area of this particular basin, what you will get, the amount of rainfall into area, if you put, you will get the volume of the rainfall of this particular basin, right? So ultimately what we are getting is the volume of rainfall in that particular basin or the catchment we are getting. The same one, if you take this particular DRH, that is removing the base flow, if you take this particular thing, what will happen? So already this is runoff. So runoff, usually we will tell it as Q, that is nothing but the discharge, as you can see here, runoff, right? So again we have the time period here. So if you multiply Q versus time, what you will get is the volume of the rainfall which has happened. So both of them gives the same answer, that is nothing but effective rainfall hyetograph, and also this particular thing will give about the volume of the rainfall which is happened in that particular basin. So this is about two things. So we don't want to confuse about it. For example, now you take this particular picture, that is the hydrograph. In this hydrograph, the rainfall is increasing, so at the same time the runoff is also getting increased. So from this rainfall, what we can do, we can draw this particular effective rainfall hyetograph, that is removing all the losses, you will get the rainfall excess, right? So in this rainfall excess, what you can do is intensity of the rainfall is there, that is mentioned in centimeter, and if you have the area of that particular basin, ultimately you will get the volume of the rainfall which has happened in that particular basin. And at the same time, if you take this particular example, you have the discharge already, and you have the time. So if you multiply discharge in the time, you will get the volume of this particular basin. So both gives the same answer. Apart from this, why we need to study about this particular DRH, that is direct runoff hydrograph? It is nothing but it will directly tell how this surface runoff, that the water which is available at the top of the surface, will affect this particular stream or nearby the water body. So it tells the direct response of the rainfall in a catchment. So direct response is nothing but if the surface runoff is very high, ultimately the problem is there for this water body. Why? Because once it is filled, again it will destroy the nearby areas, because it cannot hold more amount of water.